Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. Welcome to Nat Fashion Hub, the solution to fashion. Today I want us to quickly learn how to cut a double-breasted waistcoat. Like we know, waistcoats are of different types. We have single-breasted waistcoat and we have double-breasted waistcoat. So for this waistcoat I want us to cut today is a double-breasted waistcoat. So if you have not subscribed to my channel, please quickly hit the subscribe button and turn your notification bell on so that you will not miss out whenever I drop any amazing content like this. You will be notified. Thank you so much. So without wasting time, let's go straight into cutting. I have my chalk here, I have my scissors, I have my tip, I have my ruler here. So that's the things we're going to be using for this work, and of course my pressing iron. So for this waistcoat I want us to cut, we'll consider the following measurement. We are going to use a shoulder of 17, we're using a bust of 36, and a length of 24 for this waistcoat. So basically, when you are cutting a waistcoat, there is something that you need to take note of, which is the shoulder measurement. You know, the shoulder measurement of a waistcoat is not as full, it's not taken as full as a normal shoulder measurement. So for anyone you are making a waistcoat for, first of all, you need to know the person's measurement. Then you subtract minimum of 2 inches from the person's measurement so as to make a waistcoat for that person. So for this waistcoat, the measurement for the person is 17, so we're going to minus 2 inches from that 17 so that we'll get our actual measurement for the waistcoat. Remember, I said for waistcoat, when you're making it, you reduce the original shoulder measurement of that person who you're making it for by 2 inches. If my shoulder if my shoulder is 20 and I want to make a waistcoat for myself, it means I'm going to use 18. If my shoulder is 18 and I'm making a waistcoat for myself, I'll use 16. For this waistcoat, the shoulder is 17, so we're minusing 2 inches, which means we're going to be using 15 inches. Please, you need to take note of that. It's very, very important. One of the most important things for you to take note of. Else, the waistcoat might not be fitted, might look, somehow when the person wears it. So, without wasting time, let's start our measurement. So, for a double-breasted waistcoat, when you are cutting it, it means you are going to leave an allowance for the crossing of the front pieces, because they're going to cross each other. So for that reason, we give an allowance which is 2 inches. So first of all, we're going to remove that allowance of 2 inches for the crossing of the two front pieces before we start taking our actual measurement. So this is the actual allowance, 2 inches. We're now going to make it 2.5 because of seam allowance. So using 2.5. So this is 2.5. We'll mark our 2.5. We'll mark our 2.5 inches. Very, very important. And we'll use our long rule to join the 3 points together. You mark 2 or 3 dots so that you can get a straight line. If you mark only 1 dot and you're trying to join to make a straight line with it, it might not be straight. That's why I mark 2, 3 dots. Yes. So after we are done with this, the next thing we will do is to fold it at this 2 inches allowance. Sorry, let's cut this out. We don't need it. Is to fold it at this 2 inches allowance so that we'll be dealing with our. You can actually leave it like that and take your measurement, but let's fold it. Yes, so that when we are cutting, we will get an accurate shape, especially at the neck. And when we are done, I will show us why I'm folding this. When we are done cutting, I'm going to show us why we are folding this. Right, so after folding it, we'll now go ahead to take our measurements. So we are not taking our measurement beginning from the end point here. We are not taking it from the end point. We'll mark 1 inch before we start. 1 inch before we start. Let's also join this 1 inch. Yes. So now we can start. We said the length of our waistcoat is 24. So we are going to use exactly the 24. This is 24. And also we'll join this line. Just follow me and we will not waste time at all. See? So the next thing we are going to do is to locate our shoulder measurement. We say shoulder is 15. When you're cutting waistcoat, divide shoulder measurement by 2. So if you divide 15 by 2, you are having 7.5, 7.5. I'll give you 15. We're going to use 8. I'm going to use 8. Yes, I'm going to use 8 because of seam allowance. So let's still mark that 8 downwards here. Yes, and you see, we'll still push this line down. Yeah. So the next thing we're going to do is to mark the wideness of our neck. Now for this neck, we want it to have a wideness of 6. So since we need a wideness of 6, during cutting we are going to give it a wideness of 2.5, so that by the time we join it, we'll be having the 6 we need. So this is 2.5. 2.5 is 5. So by the time you sew it, it will become 3, and 3 plus 3 is 6. Mind you, we folded this fabric into 2. Sorry, I forgot to tell you. We folded this fabric into 2 before we started. So after getting the wideness of our neck, we now check the depth. I want it to not to have a V. I want it to be curvy, to have a U shape in front. So we are going to mark the depth. We are using 9 for the depth. So this is 9 for the depth. 9 for the depth. This 9 to mark it in 2 places. 9. So let's join this line. 9 for the depth. So this is 9. So we are going to mark 1.5 inch from the 9 point here. So this 1.5 inch will help us to curve this here. So just beginning from this 1.5 inch, we curve this. You see? So we are done with the curve in the front. So the next thing we are going to do is to slant our shoulder. Yeah. So we are going to slant our shoulder from this point. We are going to slant our shoulder in by 1.5 inch. This is 1.5 inch. Yeah. So we are slanting our shoulder in by 1.5 inch from the neckline. From the neckline here, we are slanting by 1.5 inch. I believe you are following. If you are lost at any point, please, you can just watch the video again. And if you like this, please like the video, give me a thumb up, and also hit the subscribe button if you are yet to subscribe. Thank you so much. So let's continue. So for the arm, the formula for getting our arm is shoulder measurement divide by 2 and minus, or you can minus shoulder minus 2 divided by 2. So since this shoulder already minus 2 from it, so we have 15 divided by 2, we have 7.5. So that is our shoulder for this waistcoat. So but we use 7. So this is 7 here. That is 7. So at this point of 7, we'll take our bust measurement, and we'll say this bust is 36. Now 36 divided by 4 will give you 9. So this is 9. So this now we're going to add 1 inch allowance for the fitting line in front here. We're going to add 1 inch allowance for that. Is a 1 inch allowance for that fitting line. Then we're going to leave 1 inch allowance for the 1 inch seam allowance. So that gives us a total of 11. So coming down here at the end point, we are going to at the end point here, we are going to mark 1 inch from here. 1 inch. We're going to mark 1 inch in. So I measured 1 inch in, and up here we'll mark 2 inches. Can you see this? 1 inch in by what? 2 inches. 1 inch in upwards 2 inches. So I'm going to draw a straight line here. Yeah. So the next I'm going to do is, mind you, we got 11 here, so I'm still going to use that 11 here. Okay, so 11. Yeah. So we'll join these 2 points together. This point to this point. We join it. This is what? 11. That's 11. But at the center here, at the center of these 2 points, this is 15.5. So the center should be giving you 8.25. Sorry, it should be giving you 7.75. 7.75 give you 15.5. 7.75. So at 7.75 here, we'll minus ½ inch, just to give it a little fitting. That's all. Just give it a little fitting. Yeah, just a little fitting. Just to give our waistcoat a little fitting. That's all. Little fitting. All right. So at this point here, we're going to do something. At the end point here, you know, our waistcoat is not straight. Waistcoat is not straight down. It has a curved shape. From the front, it curves into the back. Yeah. So for that reason, we're going to mark 2 inches from down here. We'll mark 2 inches here. Yes. And so we'll curve that line into this line here. So this line is not supposed to be straight. It's supposed to be a bit curvy, but I'll use a straight this rule, then I'll curve it a little. You see? It's supposed to be, yes. So this is it. Correct. This is it. But this line, we're not going to cut it on this line. That was why we gave this 1 inch allowance here. We are going to cut it on this line. I'm having 1 inch allowance. We're going to cut it on this line I'm drawing here. Yes, because this is the actual length. This here will serve as the allowance. So we're going to cut it here, not here. So if we look very well, our waistcoat has reduced from a length of 24 now to 22. You see? But don't worry, we'll take care of that. I reduced from 24 to 22 from here to here. But don't worry, we'll take care of that. So the next thing we're going to do is to curve our arm. And how we're going to curve our arm? We're going to measure, look at this. We're going to measure from the center of this is 7, we're going to mark 3.5. From here to here is 7, so the half is 3.5. The midpoint is 3.5, so we're going to mark 1 inch at this 3.5. See? So we're going to curve it. We're going to curve this line, this shoulder point, 1 inch here, and then take it out to meet this point here. Please follow. This is quite simple, you see. So once this is done, we are done with cutting our waistcoat. Very simple. Like I said, if you are lost at any point, please just release the video. And not to forget, sorry, before I forget, this midpoint here, this dart line, this fitting line would locate the center of here. From here to here, the center is this. Yeah, this is center, and the center is 5.5. So let's still mark 5.5 here, so we can get our straight line. 5.5 to get our straight line. So this is our straight line. So on this line is where we'll locate the pocket for this waistcoat, and the pocket is marked 5.5 inches from the end point. Look at the end point here. So mark 5.5 inches. 4.5 inches, and the wideness of our pocket, we want it to be 5 inches. So that is 2.5 on both sides. From here to here 2.5, and here to here 2.5, making 5 inches. So that gives us our pocket, and this pocket has a wideness of just 1/2 inch. So you see, that's our pocket right there. So we can go straight into cutting this out. Before we cut out this line here, you can decide to stop it here. You can decide to curve it into here, but most of the times I love curving it into the arm, so I will curve it into the arm. Yeah, that's all. So let's cut it out. Just pay attention, because this is quite simple. It's not difficult at all, if only you will pay attention. So before we cut this part here, I would like to open this out. Now, this is what I was saying. You see, if you see what's happening here, see how this is coming into this. Now, if I had not folded this downwards and cut it, I won't get this. I would have not cutting it straight, and it won't really give me that sweet shape I would want, that sweet curve I would want my waistcoat to have when I button it, So this is giving me what I actually wanted. Let's press it and get it straight before we finish it up. So Haven't pressed it. Let's remember this line here. It's faint. Let's make it bold. Very important. Okay, so we will now extend this line we drew here. We extend it. See, extend it to the end, and then the same as this point here, we'll cut this out. The sharp edge out. Cut it out. Very important. See, so the next thing I'm going to do is to cut out this. Let's cut from here. So we're not going to cut on this line the same way we are not cutting on this line. We're not going to cut on this line. We're going to cut on ½ inch, giving a ½ inch allowance. Yes, that's why the allowance we gave here 1 inch was very, very crucial. It's very, very important. You must not forget to give that allowance. If you do, you might work and then you discover that you are having shortage in your measurement after you are done. Can you see? So this is our waistcoat. You can see how it is looking. Very fine, simple, and straightforward. So the next thing we're going to do is to cut the lining for this waistcoat. Is to cut lining for this waistcoat, and that will be in my next video. I'll be cutting lining for this waistcoat. So if you enjoy watching this video, please hit the subscribe button and turn the notification bell on, so that when I drop the video on how to cut lining for this waistcoat, you will be notified. Thank you so much, and welcome to Nat Fashion Hub, the best fashion channel in the world. Thank you.